Hey gang, well, I sent my good buddy Heliarch out in PA a couple of things that he was needing for his Alice Chalmers bee, and sent a couple other things along with it, and he sent them back new and improved. This would be one of those Nelson reproductions that were not made correctly, and they have a tendency to snap off. The pipe snaps off of them. So what he did for me was made a plate to weld that plate after welding the pipe back onto the muffler down here on the original plate, and then sealed it here, ran a bead all the way around it, and to prevent moisture from collecting between the two plates, he put in a weep hole which would allow for evaporation of the condensation that would normally form, and he put them in a position where when you've got this mounted to the tractor, they're pointed directly to the ground as per where you would aim your exhaust. So he did 2 of them for me. So I don't think I'll ever have another problem with them. And this right here is, this right here is half of a pulley from a VW Beetle generator. So as you can see, welded all the way around, weep hole clocked properly so that any moisture can just spit right on out. Pretty cool. And then he broke a simplicity blade. Now let me grab a simplicity blade and show you how thick these blades are. Well, I don't need to do that. I'll just grab this. This is a part of a simplicity blade. No, not the wood handle, not the brass bolster. That was a simplicity blade. You can see how thick it is. And he took a bit of material off, okay? He even cleaned it up, polished it, and the thing will shave your hair super sharp. So Eric, my friend, as always, we're Heliarch. He's got a double bevel on there. Thank you very much, brother. But he said he had already gotten through and started the bevels when he realized this guy that he's making it for is left-handed. This is made to be a skinning knife, fish skinning knife, fillet type knife for the kitchen. Well, he's in luck. I'm ambidextrous, so it's not a problem. And I'm going to try to find a real good spot for it. It is high carbon steel, so I'm going to have to make sure I keep it good and clean. It's going to patina over time, just with the different acids and whatnot that are going to come in contact with it. But nice homemade knife for Zippo. So hopefully you heard all that because the microphone's pointing in the wrong direction. So there were other things in the box, but those were the 3 main things that I wanted to show you guys out of that box. So Heliarch, brother, thank you very much. Now let's get on to the meat and potatoes of the video. What's we got here? Well, this is Mr. Mickey's gas Ingersoll Rand golf cart. Gas engine. I'm not even sure what engine it has in it. Let's see. It just says Club Car OHV, overhead valve. I'm sure I can find a manufacturer's tag or what have you on it. But pretty nice. He's had it lifted, upgraded from 8-inch wheels to 10-inch wheels with some real nice Goodyears, or wait a minute, Lodestar tires on it, 205 65 10s. And like I say, just got a little lift kit on it, shackles. But we were at the tractor show, just giving you the backstory. We were at the tractor show, and every time he would step on the brake, now this thing's equipped with turn signals, hazard lights, headlights, driving lights, tail lights. It would blow a fuse. So I climbed up underneath it while I was at the tractor show and discovered that the wire that was being used was incredibly thin. I don't know if you've ever stripped the casing off of phone line, landline phone line, especially in home, like cord on a telephone. You're trying to splice them together. That wire is so thin and so delicate, it's really, really hard to work with. That's about the gauge of wire that was used for the brakes. Excuse me, for the brake light switch wiring. So I'm going to get under there with my power probe, take you guys with me as best I can, being underneath. I am going to put it up on jack stands, make it easier for all of us, both of us. Yeah, the one other person that's going to watch this besides me. It's kind of neat. It's got a little 12-volt port there on the side. But anyway, we're going to get it up on jack stands so I can get under there a little better, and so that you guys can come along with me. And we're going to take a look at the original wiring, use the power probe to find the wire that is ground faulting. It's got to be not the feed line, not the power line, but the secondary line that is energized with positive power to turn the brake lights on that has to be causing it. Because everything else works. Turn signals work. Everything does what it's supposed to do. It's only when you stepped on the brake that it would blow a fuse every single time. So I just got into there and disconnected the brake light switch wires altogether so that he wouldn't have to put new fuses in it every time he stepped on the brake. So he brought it to me post tractor show. We're now in October, for me to rewire the brake lights. He actually wants me to check over all the wiring, but he needs to come and pick it back up today. But if we look down here, right here, can you see how thin that wire gauge is? Those are actually the two wires that I'm contending with right now. Just those two. But we look over here, down here, we have more of the same super small gauge wires that we're dealing with. And we look underneath the air snorkel. We have, well, I guess adequate gauge wires, but we definitely need to replace these two wires just to get him up and on his way. And these wires are going into a relay, so we'll trace those down. I can only assume that's for the turn signals, but this wire right here is the one that has really small gauge wires, but it appears to be a factory harness for adding something, not sure what yet, adding to the golf cart. But as I've already said 2-3 times, like beating a dead horse, these are the two lines we're going to pay attention to. I'm going to make sure that's them. I'm like 97.5% sure those are the two we're working with, to find the ground fault. Which one of these wires is showing a ground because of the sheathing, insulation on the wire wearing through. So hang on, guys, let me get everything set up and we'll see what we can find. We may just start right here after I confirm that these are the two wires that we're contending with at the moment. Saying, look, there's a blue million wires on the battery connected everywhere. It's just a wiring nightmare. It actually needs a little bus box. I could probably use that one right there so that I can fuse everything, but we'll see. Right now, all we're doing, working on the brake lights, so stay tuned. Alright, right, we got her up on jack stands. Let's get under here. Try to keep things as steady as I can. Okay, I was right. No, I wasn't. Here's that tan wire. Okay. What I have here is just a break in the orange wire, which, yeah, that makes sense. That should be right. So I need to trace the orange wire and the tan wire because they go back to the back of the golf cart for the lights. Let's see. They go into that hole and they go up in that cavity. I don't know how well you guys are seeing this. I'm trying to put you right in the business, but these are the two that I disconnected right here. Alright, I should have battery power to one and nothing on the other, but I bet it goes to ground. So we're going to see which one of these goes to ground. Alright, I forgot I could hang you guys upside down and the screen will right itself. Alright, we have a lead right here and we have a lead right here. One of these is going to have positive battery power. The other one, nothing. That is, if I remembered to replace the fuse. So we'll see if we have anything. Let's see what we've got. There's one. And we have absolutely nothing on that one. I'm guessing this one's going to go to ground. Okay, this is the one we need to pay attention to. That has, well, this one's actually going, where are you going? You're going up to the front. So I've got to chase you all the way up to, good Lord, look at that mess up there. I got to show this to you guys. Let me get this light in a better spot. Let me get the light pointed up there so I can show you guys what's going on. That's about as good as it's going to get. Are you ready? Can you see all this? All of this. Wow. What a train wreck. Look at this lighting. Look at this wiring. Lord have mercy. Alright. I'm going to save you guys the pain. I'm going to go through and find the ground fault. Alright. When I find the ground fault, which was on, I believe, that lead. Let's come back here again. They're both going forward. And then they're coming back. That's them coming back. So, yeah. This is the one with... Alright, this is the one we need to pay attention to. We need to find out where it's going. It should not be going to ground. This is our micro switch right here. This is your brake pedal. Okay. This micro switch, as soon as you depress the brake pedal, it opens. And when it opens, it causes those two wires right there to make contact, which should turn the brake lights on. But that wire right there, the sheathing, has worn through on it somewhere. So we've got to find that and correct that. I'm going to find it and then I'm going to show it to you. So hang on. Alright gang, hopefully I got enough light shed on this. Just look at the wiring. And just how, oh man, just cobbled. Wires going absolutely everywhere. Now, we're going to go back and look, we've got a wire tie and a wire going. That's just, it's beyond me. I don't get it. Where we're going to be looking is going to be hopefully in view. Let's see, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay. You can see these wires are hanging right here above the belt drive. Right above it. Let me lift this one up and show it to you. Can you see that? What a crappy wiring job. So I've got that lifted off. I'm going to go back and probe it with the power probe. And see, well, power probe's right there. Let me see if I can't clip the camera on right here and keep you guys in view. I'll show you where you guys are hanging out at here in just a second. And then get both hands down in there. See if we still got a ground. So we've got more than one spot that is grounding on this wire. This wire should not be grounding. This is going to the tail light. Alright? Then we look right here where this wire has been rubbing. I don't know if my hand's in the way or not, or if you can even see it. You should be able, yeah, you can see my hand way over here to the left side of the screen. Here's the brake light right here. It has another spot just a few inches down, wore through to it, through the insulation. So we'll get that out of the way, and we'll test this again and see if we still have a ground. Still have a ground, so we have another one. Now somehow we're going to continue this trek on back to the brake light. I'm just looking right now, guys. Alright, I see the inner fender well and the frame, so let's go underneath again and take another look. Right now I'm going to show you where you guys are. There's not a lot of room. I had to pull this panel off in order to see, but now we're going to go back to the tail light, and we can't just look underneath through the fender well because the fender well's in the way, or the inner fender's in the way. Follow along with me here. Try to explain this as best I can, okay? Got the inner fender wells dropped down to take the wheels off, drop the inner fender wells down, a couple of 7/16 bolts, and I disconnected the light on this side, and I tested it with the power probe, which I didn't bring over here with me, which is kind of important so that I can show you. Alright, now I'm going to touch just the light. The light is unplugged and it has that orange wire going to it. Alright, let me get a little bit better light on this if I can. Possibly. I don't know if I can or not. We'll try. There we go. Get that fender well completely out of the way. Alright, now you can see. Alright, we've got that wire right there, okay? So I'm going to test right here. I should have nothing at all. Let me test the black wire. Got positive. Test the white wire. Got positive. Alright? So, is it this wire? Well, let's go over. Let's plug this one back in. If I can get it done with one hand here. Here we go. This is even with my right hand. See, I told you guys I was ambidextrous. Alright, we're going to come back over here. We're going to disconnect this one. Just like we did on the other side, we're going to do the same test. Hang on, I got to clamp you guys. Sorry, here. Take a look at that for just a second. Alright, now we're going to come down. Okay, we have another orange wire and really poor lighting. Sorry about that. Here, that's a little better. There's our, well, it's actually brown here. That's you know which turn signal it is. But we've got this wire giving supply. Now let's test here. Alright, got it? Got positive on both sides. So that's with the other one connected and this one disconnected. This wire should not have positive to it at all. So somewhere in the wiring, because I've got this one unplugged, let me go forward to that other wire up here, see if we still have positive here. Alright, still have positive there. Now we're going to come back over to the other side. Like I said, you guys are just going to have to follow with me here. And we're going to disconnect this one again. Okay? There, that come apart easy. Now we're going to test it again. Now we do have negative power here, and that's normal. Okay? But here, now we have nothing. So that wire and the other wire, but only with these connected. So does that say that the wiring issue is with these? Or does it say that the problem is in that cheap chintzy wiring that has insulation cut off of it? I got hung up on the jack. Get off there. Thank you. So let's come back up here and see if we have nothing. Alright, this is the wire that was directly connected to the brake light switch. Alright, so now it does not have it. All I did was unplug the two brake lights, but they're not getting any signals at all. Where am I getting negative power, which would be here? Okay, where am I getting negative battery power? Is it into these, or is it into these guys that have this sheathing on it? Well, upon inspection, those wires are fine. So back to the drawing board. Alright, we're going to recap. Because Mr. Mickey's coming to pick it up today, we're going to patch one section of wire, and only one section of wire. After going through, I showed you guys the one wire over there, way up under there, the small diameter wire that you see there. After I moved that wire off of the two spots that it was grounding out on, or that it could have potentially been grounding out on, the brake lights, the tail lights, now work just fine. So I'm going to replace that section of wire just for today. We will probably see this golf cart come back to get wired up correctly, which is going to be a monumental undertaking. I'm going to leave things sort of sparse like this for when Mr. Mickey gets here, so that I can show him how absolutely treacherous this wiring is. It's just unbelievable. But let me get that wire spliced in, and then we'll kick the camera back on. But I guess before we do that, I can go ahead and kick the key on. Alright, key. And I'll come down here, and I'm just going to clamp you guys right here. Maybe. There. Alright. Now I'm just going to go under, and the one wire that had a ground fault that shouldn't have, I'm going to touch it now to the positive wire that sends the trigger to turn the brake lights on. And you guys will see it no longer blows the fuse. So watch for that tail light. Come on. Are you ready? Here we go. And no blown fuse. So just getting that one wire up off of where it could have potentially been grounding. Get that little flashlight. We'll come under here. It would be this one right here. That one right there. So we're going to nip that connector off, and we're going to put a waterproof connector back on. I'm going to run a good length of wire so that we can bring it all the way around and reconnect it down here where we know that it's good. So I'll get that done and I'll show it to you. It's not going to be pretty, but it is going to be functional. Stay tuned. Well, alright gang, got the neighbors mowing. We shut the garage door and we can wrap this quick golf cart repair to completion. It was not opportune at all, but brakes. Whoa! Get back up there. Stay put. Behave. So we've got our brake lights back. Yay, right? And what did we find? Well, we found that it was indeed this 20 or 18 gauge wire, really thin stuff, had been riding on the belt drive. So we cut that section out and replaced it with 16 AWG, which should be more than adequate, and then about 50 zip ties all over everywhere. You can't see very good. I apologize for that. Let's fix it. Now you can see. But I've got that wire, both the brake light wires on both sides, tied way up out of the way so they're not going to hit anything or rub into anything. And I don't know if we can see it. Nah, we can't see it. But I also used some coil wrap on the replacement wire, which is that orange wire right there. When I zip tied it to the aluminum structure so that it wouldn't rub through there. It'll get Mickey by till he gets it back over to me, and I can go through and tidy up all the wiring. I tidied up the wiring literally from front to back. Anywhere you see a red wire tie, that's me getting things all tucked up so that they're not going to wear out or rub up against anything. So we're all done. 2 wore out spots on that wire. Crazy. Whoever did this wiring job, please don't quit your day job. Alright, that's it. It's your friendly neighborhood Zippo. We finally made it through this one. If you liked it, click right down there and you can subscribe. If you hit the bell icon, it'll notify you every time I upload a video. And here's a video, and here's a video that might interest you. I promise you guys I will be on the next one. Later. I'm out of here.